The delusional action was me saying, I'm going to come back in 11 months, which doctors said, that's going to be very hard for you to do. That's going to be really hard for you to actually come back on this course 11 months later with an ACL tear. Then I found myself back on the course 11 months later. And obviously I had to put in a video again. You're not just automatically accepted into the show. So I put in that video and you bet I got a call. I definitely got a call no matter what. No matter what that video looked like, they were going to bring me back on that show to have that comeback story.
Hello friends, Matt Duell here. Welcome back to Stories That Move, brought to you by Dream On Studios. I'm excited to tee up a powerhouse of a conversation. Today I'm joined by our Chief of Staff, Alexis Grant, and we welcomed in Angela Gargano, a 6-time American Ninja Warrior, Miss Fitness America, and founder of the Pull-Up Revolution. But beyond the titles and trophies, Angela is a force for resilience, reinvention, and rethinking what strength really looks like. In this episode, we dive into her journey from hitting rock bottom on national TV to launching a movement that's empowering thousands of women to do what they once felt was impossible. Angela's story is full of practical insights on how to push past perfectionism, embrace challenge, and lead with grit and grace. Let's jump into the conversation and welcome Angela Gargano to Stories That Move. Welcome back to Stories That Move. I'm your host, Matt Duell, and with me today is Alexis Grant.
Hello.
How you doing today, Alexis?
Good. Excited to be here.
Yes, so excited to be here and excited to introduce our guest, who is no joke. She is a 6-time America Ninja Warrior.
That she is.
Which is a really big deal. She's also Miss Fitness America and the founder of the Pull-Up Revolution. We have with us today Angela Gargano. Angela, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you? I'm so happy to be here.
So good to have you. Thank you for joining us today. In addition to our podcast here today, Angela is going to be joining us live in Warsaw on November 6th for the Warsaw Growth Summit. So for our Michiana viewers and listeners, make sure to mark that on your calendar. You're not going to want to miss this. But today, we are going to talk about her story, which includes hitting rock bottom on national TV, rebuilding from that moment, and then sparking a movement that has been redefining strength for women. Angela, thanks again for being here. Take a moment, introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yeah, you said a good amount of it, but 6-time American Ninja Warrior. I've been on 3 fitness covers. I have one behind me to remind me that I'm here. Miss Fitness America 2016. Prior to that, I was actually a biochemist, so very, very different from all those different pieces. So I've got lots of different areas of life that I was in, and now I'm going all in on keynote speaking to really share my message. I'm realizing the huge impact that it's having on so many. So going all in that to really help people really redefine what's possible for them, to overcome challenges, to overcome uncertainty, especially this world right now that we're in. And then obviously have created the Pull-Up Revolution, which is a program which has helped now thousands of women conquer their first pull-up. Now that might not seem fully related to keynote speaking, but it truly is, because what I've really realized throughout that journey of helping women get their pull-up was that it is such a mindset thing. It is so deep personal development and mindset. So I'm just really excited to bring all of these pieces together to really help create impact.
Very cool.
It's amazing.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. I love that. And we're going to unpack more of that as we go. But back up for us and let's talk about the beginning. Where are you originally from? What was childhood like for you?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey girl. Got the Italian last name in there.
Nice.
So originally from New Jersey. And I wound up going to Rhode Island College for college gymnastics and to be, in biochemistry. So that was my first huge shift out of New Jersey ever. Wow. And went to Rhode Island. I absolutely fell in love with Rhode Island College. It's a super small little school in Providence, which is awesome. And was the captain of that team there. We did a bunch of things while we were there as well, which is saving the team from getting cut. All sorts of things wind up happening throughout that journey. And then after college, I was working it's so funny because sometimes people put in my bio that I went to Brown University, but I was working at Brown University. And we were working to create different compounds to help prostate cancer and see if we can find a way to target it and pinpoint it and all these different pieces, which is actually really fun and really fascinating.
Wow.
And yeah, so huge, very, very different shift, obviously, from fitness.
Yeah.
Not fitness at that point. But I think a huge piece that's really important with that part of the story is, you know, you go from being a college athlete, a college gymnast, to then going into the workforce, to whatever that might be. For me, it was biochemistry. And no one really prepared me for what that was going to feel like to not have a sport anymore, to not have a coach, to not have somebody supporting me. You go in every single day to practice and you're like, cool, you're working towards this goal of getting towards of going to one of these meets and working with your team. And then all of a sudden, all that's gone. And I don't think I was fully prepared for that. So while I was doing the biochemistry was when on the outside, I was trying to like go to the gym and work out, but I just didn't like it. Like I didn't want to be there. It just felt weird. So I started to search for like that next thing. And like, what's this next thing that I can do outside of biochemistry that's going to really help me keep my body moving and feel good. And that's when I started getting more into the other pieces of the athletics.
Okay.
Awesome. So what was it that inspired the biochemist side of things? Like, you know, what was kind of the spark for you in that field?
It's really interesting. I always kind of look back and try and figure out why I chose biochemistry. I think it was because, I mean, I really truly had asked my parents. I said, I wanted to go in the circus.
Wow.
And they were like, that's not a real job. You can't do that, Angela. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm trying to think of like, what are other things I'm interested in? And I had a really fantastic chemistry teacher. He just made chemistry so fun and so interesting. And I honestly feel like the reason I chose it was because of that. I also did feel like there could be an impact that I could have on people by being in chemistry. When we were talking about, you know, working on prostate cancer and things along those lines, I'm like, what can I do to help people? Because I feel like I've definitely knew that I was put on this earth to create some kind of impact. So I feel like that's why I chose biochemistry at first. I was really good at it. Like I'm really good at very hands-on cook. It's like when I was doing the one in Brown, it was kind of like cooking because it was like a lot of organic chemistry and I loved that. So it was super fun. But yeah, I mean, really the reason I shifted because I kind of thought that I had to do it instead of doing some of the other things that I thought. I didn't think those other things that I have gotten into now were even a possibility to be a career that you can actually paid for and do things for. But I'm so happy I did go through that phase and did go through biochemistry because I do feel like that helps me still have a better understanding of the body and all sorts of different areas.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like a holistic view of, hey, how can I take care of my body in a way, right? You've got the science side, but then you've got the physical as well. So sweet.
Yeah, so it's definitely super interesting. And, you know, lab coat and goggles, we love that. Pipettes, all the things.
That's awesome. That's sweet. I'd love to know, what was your parents' reaction to that? Because you said, okay, from circus to biochemist to, you know, ninja warrior, like unpack that a little bit too.
Yeah, I feel like for my family, I mean, that probably was interesting for them to be like, what? They never really fully asked me or were curious about those questions, to be honest with you. I think they were just excited that, you know, in my head, I was going to go become a biochemist and then get my PhD, go to MIT. I had all these like things in my head, and I think they were just excited to hear that. But I don't think that, and I don't think they did this on purpose. I just don't think that they asked me the questions to get a little more curious as to why I even wanted to do it in the first place, which I thought was interesting. But absolutely, when I decided to quit the job, were they definitely a little panicked. They definitely were. Are you sure? Do you know what you're doing? And in my head, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. No idea when I decided to leave. But yeah, so basically I kept trying to get my PhD and then just could not, I'm not a good test taker. I could not do well on those GRE tests. I tried over and over again. Again, really good hands-on, just could not get into the schools that I wanted to. And then I was like, okay, you know what? What's the next step? I was like, I guess I'll go into pharmaceuticals because that's the next step, is to work at larger scale. So I started working large scale pharmaceuticals. So 12-hour overnight shift vibes, hazmat suit. Now we're working on, again, in big tanks because we're doing much larger scales of like our little science research pieces. And then, while I was there doing the overnight shifts, having my 45-minute commute each way, that's when I finally met my first mentor. Her name was Kathy Savage, and she was the one who introduced me to this whole entire world of fitness competitions where I could still kind of do gymnastics. It's like flipping around on stage, but it's bodybuilding at the same time.
Okay.
So it's interesting. It's like when you think of Miss Fitness America, because that's what I wound up winning, right? It's like it's like Miss USA, right? But with fitness in it, type of thing. You know, the interview, like the whole well-roundedness. But while she was teaching me how to do things outside of being a gymnast, and she was teaching me more about myself, how I could be healthy. Obviously, the people around me who were in, you know, the overnight shift, we only eat like McDonald's and stuff because it's the only thing that's open in the middle of the night, really.
Yeah.
They were like, you're looking really good. We're seeing that you're taking care of yourself. Can you help us too? So it started to really translate into that work area where I was like, oh, I'm doing this thing that is also inspiring others to eat healthier, to be better. And that's when I started to get that itch for, you know, maybe I'm actually meant to do something like Kathy has done for me, which is, you know, do something along the line with fitness and help people in this manner. So, late at night, I'd be trying to get my NASM certification online in the middle of the shifts and stuff like that.
So I see that in your bio. It talks about secret workouts at midnight. So talk about that. Like, what was happening there? Like, obviously it feels like you're kind of balancing the two worlds, trying to figure that out.
I absolutely was in two different worlds, and let me tell you, it was exhausting. Exhausting mentally, physically. Think about, I mean, some of you listeners might be on here who do work the overnight shift. It's not an easy thing to do, like 12 hours, and then you have like an hour to sleep at an hour commute, and then you're trying to sleep in between. So I was trying to figure out, when am I going to fit these workouts in, because I have this coach who's telling me and helping me get prepared for these competitions. When am I going to do that? So I really had to mess around with that schedule and figure out how I'm going to integrate it into the life that I have now, right? Because a lot of people think, oh, it has to be you're all or nothing on this or all or nothing on that. But I'm like, wait, I have to find a way to really mend this together, because my reality is I'm working 12-hour overnight shift. Like, there is nothing else I could do about that. So what I started to do is we would always have some kind of, I guess it would be our lunch at midnight. We'd always kind of have that. Yeah. So we were in a campus there, because I worked at this place called Genzyme. There's like a nice little campus, and I would go do my workouts or run outside at night. Obviously, if it's so many people be like, Angela, that's so scary. You're a woman doing that. I'm like, don't worry. I wound up having like a lot of the guys who were on the shift would like one or two of them would like come with me, and they would want to start running too. So it was nice. Yeah. So I would just really I just found a way to make it work. And I was like, that has to be at midnight and I have to do something then I'm just going to do that.
Awesome. So then tell us about that decision to enter the fitness competition, which then led up to your big win.
Yeah. So I got into the fitness competitions. I had no idea what I was doing. Like this woman had so much belief in me. You've ever had someone like that where they're just like, they have so much belief in you. You have no idea what you're getting into. And I just trusted her. She was like, I'm going to sponsor you for everything. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. I'm going to show you the ropes, all these different pieces. And I was just blown away by the kindness of her. And I even sometimes would ask her, you didn't even know me. Like, I sat in your office. Like, I could have totally taken advantage of this this opportunity that you gave to me. She's like, I just knew. She's like, I saw you and I just knew that you were going to do the thing. So, so lots of training, for that, working on the performances. And I competed so much. I had to do like a bunch of local competitions, and then we would go to the national ones. And I'd gone to the national one multiple times, and my eyes were set on like, I'm going to win Miss Fitness America. I want to do this. But, there were so many times throughout that journey where things would just go completely wrong, right? There was a time where I hurt my foot on stage. There was a time where my costume malfunctioned and embarrassing, slid down. My butt crack was out. Mind you, this was when it was streamed nationally. So people are getting a nice view of my butt crack. Yeah, full butt crack moment, which was very interesting. And all these things kept happening, but I kept showing up. And then after a couple of years in 2016, it's almost like I honestly kind of knew that I was going to win. Like, I was back at stage, and first of all, I knew that I was ready to move on to whatever the next thing was going to be from this. And then also I just knew that I'd put so much work in, I'd showed up. I just felt really good at that moment. So that was the moment where I finally won Miss Fitness America. But it was after all, I mean, I look at the list sometimes of the amount of competitions I did in order to do that.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of wild that I just kept persisting. I was like, no, I'm going to make this happen.
Wow. I mean, ballpark for us, how many competitions do you think it was leading up to it?
Oh man, I don't know. If I can look in there, maybe like 30 something.
Wow.
If you look, I went to my LinkedIn the other day because I used to track all the titles in there, and then I looked down and I was like, oh wow, there was a lot in there. Because you'd win different titles at different competitions, like the local ones, you'd win this, and then so very like lots of different competitions, but it was a lot of failure. It was a lot of trying to figure it out, and definitely, I mean, which happens with everybody, right?
Sure.
A lot of moments where I was looking up to these people who were just, it felt like they were just winning, like they just had it, and I was just like, what, like, why don't I have it? Why is this taking me so long? It's so annoying.
Yes.
Well, that persistence is amazing though. Yeah. And even like that confidence you said backstage of like, okay, I've got this. I know I'm going to win it. Like, kudos to you for having that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, I don't even know if it was necessarily like I knew I was going to win it. I think maybe I just necessarily knew like I put in everything that I could possibly do. Like I did all the things this time. So at that point, it's almost like you already won no matter what.
Yes.
Like it didn't matter. Like cool, got the trophy and the title, but internally I was like, I did this. I did the thing. This is the one that I won, and I made sure that I did all the things the right way from all the things that I've learned from the past.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So you have the title, you have the trophy. Walk us through from there to American Ninja Warrior. What was the journey to get there?
So also very interesting and also very mended together, which again, I've been thinking actually a lot about these different areas of life where I feel like the different phases of life happen. And it seems like it's all very similar. They kind of are together in a way. Yeah. So one of the women who was helping me and mentoring me through how to do routines and stuff like that, she had won the title multiple times. She was going to try out for that popular TV show, American Ninja Warrior. Now, I had no idea what this show was because I don't even watch TV. Like, I barely watch TV now, too. I had no idea even what this was. Yeah. And I guess in order to do that, you have to put together a submission video. So the submission video has to be about your life, and it also has to show your skills. But at the end of the day, American Ninja Warrior is basically a reality TV show, so you do need to have some kind of story. So I was really great. I'm really good with like creativity and video and stuff like that. So I helped get a videographer making these videos. And as I was doing this, the videographer, Ian, I'll never forget it. He looked at me and he was like, Angela, you should really try out for this show too.
Oh, wow.
And I just thought, I can't try out for this show. Like, this is my other mentor trying out for this. I'm going to like now say, oh, me too. Like, it felt like I was, overstepping my bounds or something like that. But he just kept saying it to me over and over. He's like, why not? He's like, why not try out for it? Who cares? Like, maybe why not just go for it? And finally at the end, I believe this is when she left, he was like, let's just throw something together real quick. So we threw something together, and I forgot about it. I didn't think anything was going to come of it. I was still pretty deep in the fitness world at that point. Yeah. And then I was literally actually at a fitness competition. It's funny, when I do my keynotes, I you know how you can't say all the details. This is a very interesting detail. I was at a fitness competition. Yeah. And I remember looking down at my phone and I saw an 819 call me. I just thought it was spam because there's so many spam calls. And this is when you had to like call back in to get your voicemail, and like now where you can like see it, right? Yeah. So I'm like, whatever, like another spam thing. And then I don't know, for some reason I called in and I hear this voice of this guy, this producer. He's like, you've been accepted to American Ninja Warrior, and you're competing in 2 weeks in Pittsburgh. And I remember just sitting there looking at my phone, and I'm looking at my friend. I don't know, I'm like calling my friend over. My friend Jess, I'm just like, come here. She's like, what? I'm like, you're not going to believe this. And now I'm like, I have no idea how to ninja. I have 2 weeks. I'm like, what even is ninja? Like, what do I do? So now I'm a little bit panicked. I'm doing the fitness competition. That was a super fun one that I did. And then after I'm posting everywhere, wanted someone to help me ninja on Facebook everywhere. Like literally wanted. Like, somebody help me. I don't know what I'm doing. And I also felt really bad though, because my friend and my other mentor who tried out for it, she kept saying, oh, I'm probably gonna get my call soon too. And she would keep saying that. Oh, wow. And then she never got a call. I know. So like, what a weird feeling I was in. because I was like, oh man, I feel like I stepped on her toes. But I was also a little bit disappointed because I'm like, if it was the other way around, I'm so supportive. I would have been like, let's go. Like, what do we have to do? Like, I'm going to come with you. We're going to do this together. And I didn't feel like I really got that. But I know obviously that could be just like a tough place to be, maybe.
Yeah. Sure.
That maybe some of the person that you're mentoring is doing some of the things that you maybe wanted to do. But anyway, so put out that, and then there was literally so many people in Rhode Island, believe it or not, who were messaging me like, oh, we have courses set up in our backyard, like in the middle of the woods. We'll come teach you how to ninja. Like, so nice.
Wow.
And I'm over here just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go in the middle. I remember driving deep in the middle of the woods. Like, should I be doing this? Like, is this like, am I gonna get killed back here? What's gonna happen? Drive all the way back to these handmade courses, literally made from plywood and the nails and all that stuff. And they were teaching me back there how to ninja. And the first day that I did that, and I always put this in my keynote just to show people how it went, but I actually broke my nose because I was trying to do the salmon ladder thing, and it just popped out and hit me in the face.
Wow.
But I love that I have it on video because it's kind of interesting because you're like, oh, she, was able to do all this stuff, but I'm going to show you my day one. And my day one was like, it was not going well. Like, it wasn't. But so then I flew out to Pittsburgh, and I learned so much when I was there. There was so much I didn't know about Ninja Warrior until I got there. It was very much discovering it as I was going.
Yeah, yeah. So how did the show, then work for you? I mean, was it you get in and, you get a few runs and, just you win or you lose? Like how does it work for you to like build up to become
I had no idea when I got there either.
Yeah.
And this is also stuff that I wound up putting in my keynotes. Like, I assumed everyone kind of knew some of the stuff I was going to like about Ninja Warrior, but I didn't know it, so why would anyone else know it? So interesting enough, it's filmed from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. It's filmed that night, overnight.
Oh, wow.
Wow, guess my skill overnight has been, surprise.
Yeah.
The film's overnight, so outside. 2, you have no idea what obstacles you're getting. No idea. You only know until you get there, and then they'll go through them. But what's really fascinating is that throughout the week, they're building the course outside. So people who are really obsessed with the show will go out there with binoculars and they'll spy on them building it. And then they'll make replicas, sketchy replicas in gyms. So now we're all in a group message, and they're like, come to this gym. We have this sketchy replica put together if you want to try some of the things. So it was, this world was so fascinating to me. And then I also learned that it was 2 nights, right? So the first night was everyone competes, and then the top 30 move on. This is whoever goes the furthest and the fastest. So you don't necessarily need to finish the course. You just need to go the furthest and the fastest. And typically the top 5 female, they'll pick 5 females to move on as well in that, no matter what, because this is male, female, all ages type of situation. Yeah. Then the next night you do it again, the same first couple obstacles, but then it's a little longer. Same thing, furthest and the fastest, top 15 move on to go to national finals to compete on Mount Midoriyami. So all this stuff, I had no idea about it. And then the other thing I didn't know is you have no idea if you're going to be aired even if you do well. So I got everyone together after my first time competing, and I'm like waiting, like got my popcorn, all my friends together, and I wasn't even aired on the first one. So I was like, cool, this is awkward. Hey, I got everyone together and I'm not even aired.
No, seriously, I did it. I promise.
I promise I was in there. So it's a very fascinating piece. And a lot of the rules have changed now, but that when I competed, that was really the OG version of it.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you signing up, Matt?
What's that?
Are you signing up?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I've been spying to find out what the next obstacles are. Yeah.
I loved it. I mean, what a world that was. I mean, how fun was that?
Kidding. That's amazing.
So wild.
Yeah.
So then talk to us the point where you became, champion for the first time.
Yeah. So after that, I was hooked. I was like, okay, I know what to do now. I get it. It's very much like the fitness competitions. You've got those little pieces. You got to figure out how to train properly for it. And I knew that I wanted to no longer do fitness competitions anymore. It was just the time. It was the time to finish that era.
Sure.
And what I love so much about Ninja was that I was focusing more on strength, because with Miss Fitness America, you still had to focus on like what you looked like. Whereas Ninja, it's like, nah, it doesn't really matter what you look like. Can you get through the course? Like, how strong are you? So I loved that the shift was also to strength and empowerment and all those pieces. So I was training, and I wind up quitting the biochemistry job.
Okay.
And deciding that I was going to go all in to try and open my own gym, which I wound up doing, which is wild. I had no idea what I was doing, but decided to do that. And so all these different pieces were changing in my life. But for 2 years, I did not get on the show again. I kept putting in my video. I was a little like, super confident, a little cocky at that point. I'm like, I'm going to get on again. Like I got on and I didn't even try last time. If it's like you kind of like get in your head about it and then you don't get on, you're like, oh, okay. And then I didn't get on again. I'm like, what is happening? And then finally I was learning more about, it's definitely storytelling. It's not just how fit you are, right? And I was like, okay, cool. I had this great video I'd put together about the fact that I quit my biochemistry job and opened my gym, so I got to show that. Yeah. I got on the cover of Women's Health magazine, which was another accidental thing that someone kept turning my name into, which is really cool. And then I made a joke at the end of it being like, and I finally have a boyfriend, because before I would always put stuff about like me being like I had cats, like I was a cat lady or whatever, which I should have never put that in my video, like because it didn't work. It didn't work out. I'm like, why did I put this guy in my video? So I've got these 3 things, and then I finally get on. But now I've trained for what is that, like 3 years, right? So now I'm ready. Like I'm so confident. I get on that course. I remember looking at my coach being like, I just felt like I had it. Like it just felt like that Miss Fitness America moment where I put all the work in and I looked at the obstacles that we had. I'm like, this is going to be great. So I'm flying through this course. I'm looking at the sidelines. I'm seeing people who are OG Ninja Warriors being like, who is this girl? Like she's just coming out of nowhere, like just flying through. So then I get to this final obstacle called the wing nuts, which is a side to side obstacle. And I'm swinging side to side and I'm looking at my coach. And I knew that once I got through this obstacle that I was going to be a top female, which was so incredible. And as I dismount, as I'm going through, I just remember completely blacking out. So I black out. And I'm hearing the crowd on the side of me, they're making all these noises. And then you hear Matt Eisman saying she's in a lot of pain. And then there's the other guy in the sideline who's saying, hey, you got to go. Like, if you want to keep doing this, like, you have to keep going. And I'm like, I could not get up. I just was looking at him going like this. And he literally carried me off the course. And in that moment, I realized that I literally had torn my ACL in front of everyone. So being the strongest, confident, did all the things right, and I just felt like such a failure. It felt embarrassing. I honestly was in denial for a little bit. I'm like, oh, it's fine, right? It's fine. I'm going to come back and compete tomorrow. And they're like, you're not going to compete tomorrow. So just a really, like, again, when you talk about rock bottom moment, what a visual rock bottom moment right there from all the stuff that I had worked on in order to get to that moment again.
Wow. Right. Wow. And I'm assuming because of just the drama of the whole thing, they aired that whole situation.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely aired that.
So not only do you live through it live and in person and all the processing, but then you have to then go through it again as it airs on TV.
And just see it and just see how strong you could just tell when I was flying through the course how strong I looked. So it was such a frustrating moment for that to just happen just like that. And I definitely sat in that mindset of I had failed, and if I'm gonna do everything and try everything and this is how like life is gonna turn out, like what's the point? Like there was so many dark moments, but also on the other end, I owned a gym, right? So I still have to go into work every single day. So I'm going into work trying to act strong because that's what a lot of strong women do. That's what strong leaders do, right? We mask. We don't want people to see that we're in pain. We just show up strong. But then when I was going home, I was crumbling. I was falling apart because if you think about it, just like how, gymnastics was over after I went to my next career, your identity is gone. So now I didn't even know who I was anymore. Like if I'm not this strong person, if I'm not showing up and doing ninja, who even am I? So I had no idea really who I was. And I sat in that for a long time. And it's interesting. I always love to say this because I think it's interesting when you hear about like athletes or leaders or motivational speakers, rock bottom moments. It sounds like you get out of it quickly, but this is like months of being down there, like months of just being in the dark and just being alone and feeling like I was honestly completely worthless at that point, which was super wild.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, and it's a mental battle too that you have to go through, right? It's not just the physical healing of your ACL. It is that journey that you have to go through day by day, and just how do you not mask that emotion, right? But like choose to be vulnerable, choose to heal with the people that you're surrounded by.
Yeah, if anything, it was absolutely 1,000% more mental than anything. The physical stuff, it's like you can figure out, but it's like the mental stuff, like that's the stuff you're not prepared for.
Right.
But that honestly was the mental part was exactly what I needed. I didn't know that obviously at the time because I that's all I knew. All I knew was these big things, these big goals and stuff like that. And then again, when all of that was gone, like, who am I without all those things? And having to really relearn that you're so much more than just that. And that's just, again, that goes for anybody on here. You know, if you're a mom, sometimes you only identify as I'm a mom. Like, no, you're not just a mom. Yes, you are a mom, but you're more than that, right? Who are you without these things? With your career, I saw this happen with my dad when, you know, he had like the retirement situation. You know, your whole life is that job, and it's incredible, and that's his life, and then it's gone, and you're like, who am I after all of this? So you really have to start to dive deep. And I think that, you know, people had told me during that moment, like, this is going to be a blessing in disguise. I'm like, get out of here. This is not a blessing. Like,
right.
But obviously now, like, as I've gone through, and now this is literally the story that I am able to bring to so many stages, I do see why it was such a powerful thing that I really did need to go through, because I had to really go inward so that I could tackle these other things in life that, you know, because these things are going to just keep happening over and over again. And now you're much more equipped to handle them when you've gone through them once.
Yeah. So for our listeners, I mean, talk through that again. You know, I don't think many of our listeners, you know, had a moment where they fell apart in American Ninja Warrior, but people that have gone through, you know, job loss or the end of a relationship, or, you know, just a life transition like you're talking about from one thing to the other, and maybe they're feeling that kind of lonely rock bottom moment. What would your encouragement be to them?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is exactly what I talk about in my keynote, because I think this is such an important piece of it is like, and you're at that rock bottom moment. Now what? Now what do you do? Like, when you have no idea. And I love how you just said all those different factors, because everyone in here has had an ACL moment. Maybe it's not an ACL tear, like you said. Maybe it is that job loss. Maybe it's the business plan you put together and you had it all squared away, and then it's still something happened and it failed. So we've all had these moments, but how do you get out of that? And that was the toughest piece. That's where I felt like I was stuck for a really long time and not really knowing. And luckily I had another great friend come up to me. And you know, when you have those friends or the people in your lives who, you know, you're showing up strong and doing all the things, but they see right through that. They're like, you're not okay. And I can tell. Thank goodness for this person. She came up to me. She said, Angela, you've been here for a while. I've seen it. I'm seeing right through you. And I just want to give you permission right now that it's totally okay that you're here right now, that you're feeling these things. She's like, but the one thing I don't want you to do is get stuck there. And that was so powerful to me, because it gave me the permission to feel crummy about it. And I didn't think I had that permission. Right. I didn't think I had that permission to do that, because I thought I had to continue to be strong. I thought I had to suffer in silence and suffer alone. It was interesting. I just listened to a podcast the other day. They were talking about the statistics for people who like go through bankruptcy, and asking them if they ever told their spouse or people around them that they were suffering, that they were in this really bad financial place. And the stats were no, they literally told nobody, because they didn't want to either be a burden. They didn't want to feel like they weren't strong anymore. So I think the really first step, and this is what we go through in my framework. I've now created a framework from it, but again, it wasn't named, or it wasn't that when I was going through it. But we call it the right framework. But the first one letter is recognize and feel, giving your permission to feel that. You are still a strong person. You are still a strong leader. If you feel things, you are literally human. So you have to feel through those things. And if you keep resisting feeling those things, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stuck. You have to actually move through it. You actually have to feel through it. So I think that's the first step, no matter what. It's allowing yourself to say, you know what? Like, naming it. This sucks. Like, this sucks. This is annoying. I put my time into this. Say it out loud. Write it on a piece of paper. Tell a friend. I know for me, I decided to call it a pity party. I gave myself a time frame. I was like, I'm going to give myself a deadline for it. I'm like, I'm going to allow myself to just be annoyed about it. Write all the crazy thoughts that I had on my piece of paper. Like, just let it out. And when you do that, it loses its power now over you. Because before it had all this power over you. So now it loses it. So for first steps, I always tell people, don't be scared to actually feel and name what it is that you're feeling right now. Because that's literally, it's okay. It's okay.
You were talking through the framework. So I think you said R stands for this. Now take us through the rest of that. Curious.
For sure. So so the next piece is the I. So it's identifying what you can control. Because I think what we really get stuck with, and this is just our mind trying to protect ourselves, but we think of all the worst case scenario things. We think of all the things that we can't control anymore. I kept replaying tearing my ACL over and over again. It's if I was going to be able to go back and change that. It happened.
Yeah.
It happened, right? So now you have to let it go and now identify what you can control. I'm sitting there mad about my leg, but I had so many other things and so many opportunities that I wasn't realizing when I was stuck in this dark place, right? I still had my upper body I could work on. I had my core, a strong foundation I could work on. I also had my mindset clearly that I could work on as well. So really identifying what you can control. So I always encourage people to sit down and really ask themselves, like, what can I do versus what can I do? What small thing can I do right now? And write it, again, start to write down those things so you have an idea. And this is where my whole, it's my podcast, this is my keynote, what if it all goes right comes from. Because what I started to do when I was thinking about what I could versus what I couldn't control is I started to write down on a piece of paper, what if it goes right? And what does that even look like? And I was so stuck in this blurry mindset of all the things that had gone wrong that I didn't even honestly know what going right even looked like. I wasn't even aware of that. So I had to sit there, like the first day I had no idea. I'm like, what if it all goes right? And then I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I come back. It's very like small, right? Then the next time it's like, oh, well, maybe I do X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, maybe it feels like this, or maybe I do that. And every single day, it started to get a little bit longer as to what going right could look like and how this potentially could be a really great opportunity at this point. And that's why I'm so obsessed with this message and why I'm saying it all the time, because I literally sit there and live it. I still do it every single day. I sit down, what if it all goes right for my day? What if it all goes right for my week? Like, what does that look like? Do I have an idea? Because sometimes you have no idea and you're sitting there frustrated just about all the things that are, again, going wrong. So,
No, it's such a powerful perspective. And I think, the natural thing is to think of, the opposite of like, what if I do this and what goes wrong and what does failure look like? And kind of looking at things from that cynical mindset. And I think just switching the lens and the perspective into that positive, optimistic, like talk to us about then what that meant for you, like how that then propelled you into your comeback.
Yeah, I realized that when I figured out what I was in control of, I sat down, and this is when everything started popping up a little bit more on social media. This is before social media was like really cool.
Sure.
I started doing workouts with my brace on, and it was showing me doing like bicep curls or some sorts of crazy things because, again, showing what I can control, which is like the rest of my body. I had this opportunity to really focus on this foundation. I'd gone to a physical therapist and he said to me, hey, Angela, I know you have a six-pack right now. He's like, but your foundation is weak. He's like, your foundation is weak. And if your foundation's weak, you're going to crumble. He's like, we have an opportunity right now to work on this, to work on your core. I remember just being like so blown away with like, I'm like, wait, you want me to work on stuff that's not my knee right now? He's like, yes, actually what I want you to do. So that's what it looked like for me. And then I felt like because I shared that on social media, people started messaging me saying, oh, because I see you showing up and working around your injury, I'm able to now show up for X, Y, and Z, whatever it is they were going. Again, not necessarily an ACL tear, but it started to give them that motivation. And that started to drive me even more because I was like, wow, maybe there's also a bigger piece to this. Maybe I'm supposed to be somebody who's showing how I can get out of this and to share, like we said, vulnerably. I started sharing vulnerably on my page. Wow. Like, this is what's happening. Yes. This is how I'm feeling. Yes. And I think that was a really powerful thing to do because it allowed other people the permission they needed to work through whatever challenging or uncertainty they're in right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I'm guessing through some of that vulnerability and some of that sharing, that then creates this great story that brings you back to American Ninja Warrior.
Yes. I mean, I still had to go through other pieces. So again, we identified what we can control. I had to create my game plan. You got to game plan it out after that, right? Just like anything, any competition, right? I'm like, what is this going to look like? I'm like, my goal is now to come back in 11 months. What's my step one? So I had my date. Okay, cool. This is when I would be coming back. And then I was like, what is my first step? So I'd follow my game plan and break it up into those little pieces to make it much more manageable. Then I had to, for the H, hold on to the adaptable mindset because let's be real, even when you have a game plan and you're coming back from something, even when you have the courage, right, to start working towards something after something is challenging, stuff is still going to happen. It's still going to go, quote unquote, wrong. So how well can you adapt to whatever's going to happen? There was one point where I had this really bad pain in my calf. It was just debilitating. And I kept telling the doctors, I think there's something wrong in my calf. I'm kind of for some reason thinking it's a blood clot. And they're like, you're so healthy. You don't drink. You don't do this. Like, you're no way you have a blood clot. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, would you mind us just going in and like, we can just check it. Like, even if I'm wrong, it's cool. Go in. Sure enough, had a blood clot. So
oh my goodness.
now adapting to that, like stuffing tissues in my nose that are bleeding. So
oh my goodness.
Literally holding on and knowing, just being already knowing like, hey, okay, I need to be adaptable because other stuff's going to be, it's not going to necessarily go as well. Like with the game plan, it's not necessarily going to go as planned. And just being like, that's cool. Like, what can I do and how can I adjust? And then my T, which was taking that delusional action. And the delusional action was me saying, I'm going to come back in 11 months, which doctors said that's going to be very hard for you to do. That's going to be really hard for you to actually come back on this course 11 months later with an ACL tear. So went through all those different pieces and went through that entire journey. And and then I found myself back on the course 11 months later. And obviously I had to put in a video again. You're not just automatically accepted into the show. So I put in that video and like, you bet I got a call. Like I definitely got a call no matter what, no matter what that video looks like, you know, they were going to bring me back on that show to have that comeback story.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So then how did it go? I mean, I think we know the end is amazing success, but walk us through how you got there.
Yeah. I mean, very interesting enough, just like I said, with Miss Fitness America, I was standing there before I even went on the course, and I actually I had my brace on. So if you ever see the videos of it, I wore my brace just up to the starting line. And I just remember saying to myself, I got this. And I also, like we said before, I didn't matter. I didn't care. I didn't care if I won. I didn't care if I made it through it because I had pushed through so much personal development and I learned so much about myself that it honestly did not matter. It didn't matter what happened. And I went up there, you can see me clipping off the brace bit by bit, and then I chuck it into the audience. So I told myself, I'm going to do this without a brace. I don't want a crutch. Like, I want to show that I'm confident. I'm sure my PT was like, like, what are you doing? Threw it off in there. And I proceeded to, I ran that course. But what was so different about running the course this time is you could tell on every single landing just how appreciative I was of my body. I mean, there was a smile at every single landing. You could just the feeling that I can even feel it right now was just unbelievable. Just being able to do these big landings that I never thought I'd be able to maybe do again. And then I finally had one more obstacle to get through, and where was I? Exactly where I'd started. Exactly where I'd started. That obstacle. I needed to get through that obstacle to be a top female, and everyone was falling on this obstacle. And it was called the bacon. It's like these boards you have to like jump up. I call it bacon. I don't know what they call it. So I'm going through, and you could see in the video me just like grabbing on for dear life for this, and my hands were almost slipping. I remember thinking, oh man, everyone's falling right here. Popped my hips up, and then I wound up landing. And I just remember I laid there after I dismounted, and I just had my hands in my face, and I was just like sitting there like this, like just in awe. Like there was 2 other obstacles that like I could have gone through. I didn't have to go through them because I knew I already made it. But I just was just sitting there almost in like disbelief. I can't believe that I'm here again and that I did this. Like I did this. Like it was absolutely mind-blowing to me. And again, awesome that I was able to make it back and go back to finals. I was able to go to finals the next night. But just more importantly, the person that I became through it, just so much more powerful. And again, I want to share that with everyone else too, like these moments, because you're going to go through all these different pieces and like, yes, okay, maybe you have something that you want to get back to. Maybe it's like finally getting that job again after you got fired or whatever it might be. But it's so much less about actually making it to that destination. And you hear it all the time until you live it. But it's so much more about who you're becoming on that journey, the lessons you're learning, how you're showing up.
That's amazing. That's really encouraging as I start my fitness journey tomorrow. No.
You. What do you want to get a pull up?
I told Matt right before this, I was like, I don't know if I could do one pull up, but I can run. I can do that.
Most women can't. That's why I did that. But again, the same feeling of them sitting there looking underneath the bar, shaking their head, being like, I can't do this. It's the same feeling of the ACL comeback. It's the same feeling of, helping, leaders through these powerful times of change. It's literally the same thing. So if you think about it, whatever it be for fitness or whatever it might be, if you can do that there, you can do it anywhere because you can repeat what you know, and you can translate that into other areas of your life.
Right. No, that's awesome. I'm curious, Angela, if you have just even one final message for our audience, or maybe you want to tell them, hey, what's another story that you're wanting to share? What would that be?
Yeah, I feel if I have one final, I think sometimes this is a quote that's just been really on my mind lately. I think sometimes we're not so scared of what the next thing is typically, but we're holding on to like our past. We're holding on to what's comforting in our past self. And I feel like that's just a huge message, because whether it be for like overcoming challenging times, or maybe you're like scared to start whatever that new thing is, I think it's so powerful to just know, like, a lot of times that our body is trying to keep ourselves within our comfort zone. We're trying to keep the stuff that we know. But the only way you're going to grow is by getting outside that comfort zone. And not saying it has to be a traumatic thing that happens for that, but I just want to encourage everybody to realize that, are you holding on to just what's known because you just know it?
Yeah.
Or are you ready to now say to myself, you know what, I'm ready to get outside my comfort zone, because that's where the growth happens, and that's where the next piece of the story happens.
It's so good. So good. Well, Angela, thank you so much for your time today and sharing your story. So inspiring and so cool to know about, just the people that you are impacting through your message. And again, so excited that you're coming to Warsaw in November. Can't wait to meet you, and just excited for the audience to hear that. So viewers, listeners, go to warsawgrowthsummit.com. Check out the event that our friend Keith Sampson is putting together. This is year number 2. And Angela's going to be there and speaking on the stage. So we can't wait for that. So excited for that.
Yes, I'm so excited to be there to meet everybody. And I think I loved ending this with the growth, right? Because that's the Growth Summit.
Absolutely.
And sometimes growth hurts, it hurts a little.
Yes. Well, in the meantime, before we get to the Growth Summit, what ways would you like to encourage our listeners to connect with you, or just kind of any shout out of anything you've got going on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. You can connect with me on Instagram at Angela_Gargano at any time. You can just message me on there. And then I'm going all in on my speaking this year. This is the first year that I'm going like fully all in. I've always done 10 or so events a year, but I decided that this is the year that I'm going to create even more impact. So you can go to www.angela-gargano.com/speaking, and it has, just details, testimonials, and we can chat about maybe coming in to speak at your next event.
Awesome. Love it. Well, great. Well, Angela, thank you so much again for your time, and to our viewers and listeners, thank you for joining us on another episode of Stories That Move. We're excited to see you next time. Thanks. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Stories That Move, brought to you by Dream On Studios.
Make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode. And remember, if you or your organization have a story you're eager to share with the world, Dream On Studios is here to bring that story to life.
Don't hesitate to reach out. You can find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or visit our website at dreamonstudios.io. We understand how overwhelming it can be trying to bring your vision and story to life, but that's why we exist, and we've walked alongside hundreds of clients doing that very thing.
Yeah. We believe every story has the potential to inspire, to move, and to make a difference. Let's make yours heard.
Until next time, keep moving forward and keep telling those stories that matter.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time on Stories That Move.